Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Now, this is one of those things where I wasn't sure I was going to do it or not, but then I decided, sure, why not? Van Morrison, who I talk about a lot on this channel, has released his 48th studio album. Now, I don't think that counts some of the recent albums that he's put out in the last few years. He's put out a couple of like instrumentals and uh, some like off the beaten path records. So I'm not sure how accurate that is, but according to Wikipedia, this is his 48th album called Somebody Tried to Sell Me a Bridge. Now, first of all, Van, very prolific. I just did a review 7 months ago. I had to look. He had an album called Remembering Now, which was a really kind of a return to his songwriting because he had done so many records of cover tunes, reimagining of his catalog. He did the Moving On Skiffle album. He did Accentuate the Positive, which was like old R&B rock tunes that he did. He did the Beyond Words instrumental album, like I mentioned. So this was an album kind of returning back to, there we go, kind of returning back to that style that he was doing. I mean, he's got all sorts of albums in the last 10 or 15 years that he focuses on other artists. Again, the album Versatile, which was like a jazz standards album. He did Somebody's Driving Me Crazy. He did all sorts of things, Joey DeFrancesco collaborations, etc. This was an album that was put out as kind of a blues R&B record. Lots of guest stars on here, lots of big names that Van has worked with in the past. You have Taj Mahal on here. You have Elvin Bishop from the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, who is on here on several tunes. One of Van's collaborators, John Allaire, who also plays a lot of the instruments on here. He plays organ on a lot of these tracks. And then Buddy Guy as well. And so it's very neat to see Van pulling these artists who are all, pretty much all in their 80s or mid 80s. For Buddy Guy, almost 90 if he's not 90 already. This was kind of an album that really flew under the radar, and I think a lot of people are realizing that, and a lot of you might be seeing this not realizing he had put out a new album, even you Van Morrison fans. He's been putting out a few records now the last few years on Orange Field Records, which is kind of his own label. Orange Field is the school that he went to, and he did a live album there that came out a couple of years ago. But yeah, Somebody Tried to Sell Me a Bridge. Now, first of all, just like most of Van's catalog, if not all of his catalog, the album cover is less to be desired, especially the last few years. It's almost like the art department just has thrown something together in like a template. There's this guy, this salesman walking around with his briefcase. You can see the shadow. He's kind of got this devil tail. It's very computerized. It's just not a great cover. Again, he hasn't really had any great covers over his career. If you think back on his catalog, there's not really a classic, great Van Morrison album cover. Even Astro Weeks is not a good cover. Tupelo Honey is not a good cover. Moondance is not a good cover. Great records, but not good covers. So he's at least consistent in that way. Now, let's get to the music. So we have just a one CD, and it's only available on CD. A lot of people might be asking, can you get it on vinyl? My guess is that it will be out on vinyl. I think Remembering Now came out on CD first and then vinyl a few months later. And I think part of it is just because it's independent. Van isn't Paul McCartney. So he's not, making the same kind of money, even though he tours consistently and still tours, to this day. Yeah, so right now you can just get it on CD. It is an import. If you open it up, there's all of the credits with the tracks. So you get to see who all is tinkering on every song there. Again, pretty much a duets record with several different artists. I mean, Elvin Bishop, it's all guitar stuff, but, he's being used as a guest star on so many songs. Again, Taj Mahal is on 4 tracks, either doing vocals or harmonica or banjo or a mix of all those together. Um, again, Buddy Guy's on the last 2 tracks. So again, mostly covers. You've got songs on here by Lead Belly. You've got songs by John Lee Hooker. You've got songs by Fats Domino, Junior Wells, Buddy Guy, BB King, Willie Dixon, and then again several original tunes by Van himself, which you don't really get to a traditional. You don't really get to a Van Morrison original song until you get to song number 11, called Monte Carlo Blues. Now, I will say the Van Morrison songs on here, the actual original songs, are not standouts on the album. I'll just go ahead and say that. And really, as a whole, and I'm going to be honest with this record, I can see this is not going to be one that I'm going to pull out much. Not because Van sounds bad, not because the content is bad. It's just not really my style. It's just very much a blues record. So a lot of the songs sound very similar to me. Again, it's 20 tracks, so it's a long record. No, I've listened to it twice now, so this is kind of initial thoughts. I mean, it could be something that grows on me. I know, like, his album "Keep Me Singing" was an album that grew on me over several years. I was not impressed with that album the first 4 or 5 times I listened to it. So maybe this will grow on me. Maybe, certain things will stand out now that haven't yet. But yeah, traditional blues, kind of 12-bar stuff, a little bit of shuffle on here. Again, I enjoy hearing the different voices. I enjoy hearing it. I will say that Van, with a lot of the guest stars he chooses, are not always the strongest voices to go with his. I mean, Taj Mahal has kind of this real rough voice now in his 80s. Buddy Guy, the same. He also did, a few years ago, he did a duet with Bill Medley from the Righteous Brothers, whose voice is very gruff now. But again, it's obviously, a lot of these songs were probably just done in a couple of takes. I mean, they're just blues numbers, not very difficult songs to master if you're a seasoned professional like all the folks that Van surrounds himself with. And again, the music, it's classic with Van. I mean, he's always got the great musicians behind him, very tight, very clean, and there's no exception on this record either. But I did write some highlights for me, a few tracks. Track number 3 is a song called "Snatch It Back and Hold It," which is a song by Junior Wells and Buddy Guy. Again, really, really good, kind of fast-paced organ playing. Van plays a really good harmonica on that, so it's not too shabby. Track number 5, he does a version of the Fats Domino song "Ain't That a Shame," which is, a very quick song. Cheap Trick had a hit with it, and it's interesting. I was expecting him to kind of really go off and do like a traditional fast-paced version, especially since at this point, this is track 5. There hasn't really been any, full-on boom rockin' tune yet. And this is just really kind of slow. I do enjoy it. I do. It doesn't touch the Fats Domino or Cheap Trick versions by any means. But it's good. It's good. It's got kind of this nice R&B type guitar is the note that I took here. Number 9 is a track called "Delia's Gone." It's an old kind of murder ballad by Blind Blake. This is one that has Taj Mahal playing harmonica, no other instrumentation by Taj, no vocals. It's funny as I just listened to this song, "Delia's Gone," on this album right here by Johnny Cash, and I'd forgotten how violent that tune is. It's really a dark song, but Van does a good job on it, kind of a shuffly type version of that song. Really, really good. Track 10 is a song called "On a Monday." That's a Lead Belly tune. Lead Belly is so famous in his day with the songs that he wrote. His big one is "Goodnight Irene." But this has really good playing by Taj Mahal. He's also singing on here, but he's playing a really good kind of 4-string ragtime banjo, which I really, really like. It's very 1920s banjo playing. Really, really well done by Taj. And I will say, I did get to see Van and Taj in 2018. Taj Mahal opened for Van Morrison at Jiffy Lube Live in Bristow, Virginia, which is up near DC. So I've seen both of these gentlemen. I know what they're capable of. This is a really good song. Again, Taj plays a really fun banjo on this one, a 4-string banjo. Jumping ahead to number 14, track 14, that's a song called Play the Honky Tonks. This one is one of the many songs with Elvin Bishop, written by Marie Adams. You have Van playing saxophone on this, as he does on so many other tunes. Again, another bluesy type tune, one that I enjoyed. Really, really solid guitar playing by Elvin. I think this one is one of the ones that rocks a bit more on here, and I really, really dig it. It's crazy. I think Elvin is 83 or 84, and he's really knocking it out of the park on this track. Track 15 is a song called "Go to the High Place in Your Mind." This is the song that features John Allaire on vocals. Again, he's been playing Hammond organ on most of the album, and he's actually singing here. Van is playing guitar, saxophone on here, again, as he does in a lot. Stylistically, this is a song very much like Blueberry Hill by Fats Domino. It's kind of got that doon 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 kind of style with the piano playing. So if you like that kind of music, you'll definitely hear the influence on this track by Van. And Van's always somebody who is not afraid to show his influences, whether that's with the blues, folk, jazz, gospel, country that Van weaves in and out of his whole career. Really, since album number 1, Van has never shied away from his influences. So, what's it called? Go to the High Place in Your Mind. Another a good tune. Number 16, and this is the one this is the last one I'll highlight. The rest of the album is just standard blues, in my opinion. This one's called Social Climbing Scene. I wrote this down as my favorite of the original Van Morrison tracks on here. Again, nice bass groove on here, nice slinking up and down the neck of the bass. If you know the song It's Too Late from his album Keep Me Singing, which is this great kind of shuffly, horn-laden song. It sounds like it could have been an older Van Morrison song. You could have heard this in his kind of classic years in the 70s. This song would have fit right in to that. But again, you've got his band on that, including John Allaire. But I really enjoyed it. But again, I enjoyed the record. Again, I've heard it twice. It's a long one. Again, 20 songs. It's a good bit over an hour. Most of these songs, I believe, were recorded in 2024. So a lot of these kind of date back to the skiffle sessions, and you can kind of hear some of that in some of these songs. And so I'm wondering how many of those were crossing over in the same recording sessions. So somebody tried to sell me a bridge by Van Morrison, his 48th album. It was released January 23rd of this year. So this is really the first full-length new record that I've heard this year. And again, I know the Van Morrison people know about it, the diehards. But again, even if you're a more than casual Van Morrison fan, this might have left your you might not have realized it came out. Van's not on social media anymore, so really the only announcements you get are through email or just word of mouth. And I've got to give a shout out to my buddy Alex over at Beer and Vinyl, who was the one that alerted me to this record when it was first announced. And I ordered it. Got to me in pretty good time. Again, it's an import, so you're looking to spend about $23 or so. But for 20 songs, over an hour of music, it's about worth it. So Van Morrison, somebody tried to sell me a bridge. Let me know if you've listened to it. Let me know if you're going to get it, even if you're a Van Morrison fan. Again, if you like blues, if you're diehard, completist with Buddy Guy or anybody like that, they're on here. Again, Taj Mahal, Elvin Bishop, all those old blues cats are on here. So Van Morrison, let me know what you think. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you. In the meantime, y'all be good, take care, and we will see you on the next one. Bye now.